Hey friend, have you seen anyone do a silk press and true crime video yet? Me either. That's what we'll be doing today. So go ahead, grab your flat iron, your brush. Of course, you need to wash your hair and stuff. But let's do that together. And I'll be basically silking my hair out to the best of my ability while I tell you a quick true crime story. Let's do it. A string of axe murders starts in Louisiana and heads over to Texas. The target would be entire families. Victims were often killed in their sleep. Their heads would be crushed with an axe. And they know that because the weapon would be left behind. Police were baffled. They didn't know who was doing this. But one thing that seemed to be adding up for them was religious symbols being left behind at the crime scenes. The community was in a lot of fear, and a lot of blame was put on supernatural forces and or cult activity. Now, this is way back in like 1911, 1912. That was the first wave of these incidents. And during that wave, there were at least 12 Black families totaling 57 people, because you remember back in the day, people just had tons and tons of kids, and a lot of people were living in the same house. So that year, first wave, 57 people. They were all murdered with an axe, supposedly while they were sleeping. The murders happened in towns along the South Pacific Railroad line, ranging from Lafayette, Louisiana, all the way to San Antonio, Texas. The Lafayette Advertiser, it's a newspaper. I'm going to quote them. And it says the Andrews family had been killed while they slept, probably sometime after midnight. Andre and Mimi had been moved after their death, with the killer putting them in a kneeling position beside the bed. Andre and Mimi appeared to be praying. The primary suspect, a recently escaped lunatic named Garcon Godfrey. Then there was a second wave. Now, there was a break. And between 1918 and 1919, there were 12 more people that were murdered. And these all happened in New Orleans. And the style was a little bit different. They noticed that whoever this was, they chiseled their way into the back door. They still used an axe, and all the victims in this case were Italian. They weren't in large groups or families. It was usually just like one person, and someone actually thinks they saw someone, like a large man who was fleeing the scene. Sometimes this person took small amounts of cash, but nothing ever really like big or valuable. They didn't think robbery was going to be the motive for this one. Newspapers got wind of all of this, and they gave this man a name, the Axeman of New Orleans, but nothing was solved. In the second wave, someone, maybe the Axeman, they sent letters to the police department, kind of taunting them, essentially calling them stupid and warning them not to try to catch him. Now, somewhere along the line, they decided that they really need to pin this down and find someone. Um, and somebody's mistress came along and gave the police department in Lafayette a little hint. Um, this was for a man named Raymond Barbanet. Now, Raymond, he had a long rap sheet. He was known to have a really bad temper. He was poor, petty theft. He was married. He had 2 children. Said he was a bad cheater. And he had a lot of beef with people. Um, and some of them turned up dead sometimes. And anyhow, something happened, and his girlfriend on the side, some reports that say it was his wife, but maybe some of those people that reported that his wife didn't realize that they were two separate people. So I'm going to roll with it was probably the mistress that reported him. And what she told the police department was that he had blood soaked clothes on, appeared to have brains on them, and he was bragging about the incident to her. So Raymond, he was arrested and actually convicted, but he had an attorney, and his attorney appealed, and he won because while he was in custody, the crimes kept happening. Now, also, I'll note that his children also kind of like put the blame on him as well, saying, "Hey, yeah, I saw this stuff on him." So one of the children's name is Clementine. That's his daughter. So Raymond, his attorney, appealed the case. And again, because things were still happening, there were 6 more people while he was in custody that were taken out, so to speak, with an axe. So he won the he won the appeal. But the community is not happy. They're terrified. And they want something to be done. So the town, the police department advised their citizens they should sleep with some weapons nearby. And they were like, all right, we'll do that, but we also need you all to do something. One of the sources that I use, I'm going to quote them, and it said, namely, the good, God fearing people of Lafayette thought that the people should look at other members of the Barbanet family. So, mind you, this is the early 1900s. There's a lot of Jim Crow going on. You have this man who has a really bad reputation, and he kind of confessed to it. Not, well, he didn't confess to it. He was kind of snitched on. And I think maybe the community was like, well, it's someone from that household. Like, we're kind of stuck on that. You know how, like, when you just need an answer, they run with it. You know where I'm going with that. In any event, um, the police listened to them, and they returned back to the Barbonet's family home, and they were going to look for new evidence. And what they quote unquote found was blood belonging on 17-year-old Clementine's clothes. This is Raymond's daughter. So they found blood on her clothes. She had no alibi to where she was. The brother had some type of alibi, but she did not have anything. She was actually arrested and convicted. While she was being held, for some reason, she confessed to murdering a total of 35 people. She actually claimed to do so in connection with the Church of Sacrifice. Apparently, it was supposed to be an off sector of a real church that people knew about from Lake Charles, Louisiana. And she said she received a voodoo conjure bag from a hoodoo priestess that protected her while she was out doing these things, which is her answer supposedly for how she was able to do it by herself, mass murdering tons of people. So in 1911, the police suspected Clementine after finding her clothes. She confessed to the thing. She said she was a part of some church that no one had heard of. And based on the research and some of the sources that I used, that was like a big thing during that time. Again, Jim Crow, segregation, if bad, weird things were going on in the Black community, supernatural, kind of unexplainable, um, it was voodoo. Not even, hoodoo or voodoo, which would be more the practical stuff. It was the big scary voodoo that media kind of like sensationalized. And people like people like that. It gets the people going. So she confessed to that. The Church of Sacrifice was supposed to be a cult, and they took her ass to jail. So in 1912, she was sentenced to life in prison. Um, it appears that a lot of people really doubted what she was saying, just kind of a 17-year-old girl. Um, some of the police department didn't believe her. They thought maybe she was mentally ill or lying. Some people believe maybe perhaps she was coerced into a confession because, again, this had been going on for a while, and a lot of people um, were taken out. Um, it doesn't really make sense that one person could do that by themselves. So, like, they looked into the Church of Sacrifice. It, for the most part, appeared to be like a made up thing. It could have been deeply underground. Um, and but they never came to a head with that. They were like, maybe, and we just don't know what it is. Um, there was the sheriff who did believe her, was just ready to kind of settle this case, throw someone in jail. Um, and he knew of a church organization, which was legitimate. It's called the Church of God. And he went on to tell the community that, Black people, they go off killing members of their race with a crude devotion to their end, which would be ludicrous, but for the horror of the accomplishment, whatever that means. Um, so he ran with that. Anyway, she went to jail. And listen to this. So she goes to jail at 17, or around 17 at that point. She gets sent to Angola. And then in July of 1913, she tried to escape prison. She was captured the same day. And then they let her out of prison, y'all. They said, hey, we performed this surgery on her that's going to cure her. So she's not going to be out of her mind and doing these things anymore. And we're not going to tell the community or any reports what the name of the surgery is, but it was not a lobotomy. Not their words. It's just that a lobotomy hadn't technically and actually existed yet. But we did something to her, and we are letting her off scot-free. And that's the end. No one knows where she is at this point, what happened to her. Um, Nothing else is documented about her. We don't know what happened to her. If she went off to have kids. Um, I did not research to see if like the murders picked up again. I believe there was a report that said that while she was in prison, things still continued. There were some other theories and um, scapegoats, essentially. There was a book that was published called The Man from the Train, where writers Bill James and Rachel McCarthy James make a pretty strong case that there was this German immigrant named Paul Mueller, calling him the deadliest serial killer in American history. They think it could have been him. Apparently, he went all along, I don't want to say the coast, doing that, but he's linked to quite a few things. And then another article that I found was not necessarily making a point that she didn't do it, but just maybe that it seems not likely because of not the nature of it, but just the numbers. Like, if there's a dad and a grandpa or some brothers in the house, how's one person with an axe taking everyone out and then leaving it and then having the means to get a whole new axe. Because I didn't see that it was documented that she was taking their axes. I don't know. What do you all think about that? Um, and that's the end of this video. There's still a little bit video left of me, I guess, fluffing my hair. You can end the video now if you're done with the case. Um, Leave me a comment. But if you just want to see me, I think I'm gonna end up pin curling my hair for the night, and I come back in the morning to show you what it looks like. I really, really need to do my hair. As you can see, it looks like it's not in great shape. It's not in great shape. It doesn't just look like it. It's not in great shape. I need a trim, but I was holding off till March. And I did a perm rod set before this. And I was like, I'm just going to do perm rods so I can avoid heat until I get to my hairdresser who can give me a proper trim. But I didn't want to do that. I feel like, so I flat ironed my hair. What did I use? It's is it GVC? I got it from Sally's a million years ago. It's a ceramic flat iron. I do have, is it the Babyless titanium? And I was like, you know what? I'll do myself one better by not using the titanium. I'll just do myself one better with the ceramic. And so that's what I did. And I did, of course, wash and condition my hair prior to blowing it out, as you saw at the beginning of the video. I recorded that too, but then I didn't feel like inserting it into the video. The blow dryer is a Conair. I think I got that from, in Louisiana, we had this store called Dirt Cheap, and you would get stuff from Target, but they closed because someone died in the store somehow. But yeah, pin curling my hair works great. As you can see, like there was one section that I did not pin curl well, but I feel like it still turned out okay. It turned out okay. And this is gonna probably hopefully last me for the week. I'm gonna wrap it when I'm tired of pin curling it, and I'm gonna get to the hairdresser. We're gonna cut the split ends off. She's gonna give me a mushroom. I'm coming back with a mushroom, y'all. All right, I'm done rambling. Bye. Love you.